Hello and welcome to another episode of AYB Reviews. My name is Ryan and today we're going to be taking a look at a cool new product called the XIM Edge. We have a quick little unboxing for you guys here, so we're going to show what this new product is like, but we're also going to do a little comparison to the previous model, which is the XIM 3. So for those that don't know, the XIM line of products, they allow you to use a keyboard and a mouse on your console to play things like Call of Duty or Halo, and really just destroy everything because you're using a keyboard and mouse against a bunch of noobs using a console controller. So, I cheated a little bit. I cut the tape before the video, but this is definitely the first time I've opened it, I promise. Alright, so let's get this guy open. Yeah, that's the actual XIM, and we have the USB cable. And a little quick reference guide for how to do the install on that. So, let's just get this open. Oh, tape I didn't consider. There we go. And, well, the very first thing I notice is this is really small compared to the previous model. Let's get this open. Alright, come on. There we go. Okay, so here we have the new XIM Edge and the previous XIM 3. As you can see, they are quite a bit different in size. Probably the main notable reason for that is the previous generation model had an LCD screen on it to help you program it. The new model doesn't have an LCD on it. So I've yet to actually take a look at how the management of the device works. In the old model, you would use the screen on here to calibrate different settings for your keyboard and mouse. On the new one, obviously, there's no screen on it, so that's going to change a little bit. So I have to take a look at exactly how that's going to work on this one. So in terms of construction, one of the very first things you're going to notice with either the previous model or the new model is that these guys are really well put together. Very high quality plastics. It's got this really nice sort of matte, soft, rubbery, hard plastic on it, so doesn't feel cheap at all. It's you know, it's a light piece of equipment, but it feels very sturdy. It's not like creaky or anything like that. It's got these nice little rubber pads or foam pads on the bottom there. Some really cool differences about this new model. This guy supports both the Xbox 360 as well as the PS3, whereas the previous model was only Xbox 360, so that is a big win for the new model. Another huge win is with the drop of the LCD screen, this guy is now significantly cheaper, and so that, again, another really great point to not having that screen. Okay, now we're going to take a look at some of the configuration for the actual XIM device. So we have the unit here with the USB cable plugged in, and we're going to show you some of the driver functionality on how to do some of the configuration changes. So first thing, obviously, you got to plug your device in. When you plug it in, it shows a couple different colors. It goes from red to yellow to blue, and it kind of goes through some of the settings here. And after a moment of being ready to go, it goes to solid blue, so you can see solid blue. Once it's this way, now in the driver, you can actually go ahead and click on the Connect XIM Edge button. So what this is going to do is it's going to download all of the existing profile information from your XIM unit into your computer so you can make changes to the driver settings, or I guess to the configuration settings. So when you first load it up, you get to see all the different profiles that are already loaded into your XIM. You can add in new profiles, or you can change existing ones. So for our demo, we're going to take a look at the Reach profile. So we'll click on that and we'll go to Edit. So in here, you can take a look at all of the different key mappings and what the Xbox buttons are actually set up to, or respond to specific keys. So you can see down on the left here, we have the movement joystick is set to WASD for standard FPS games. And then you've got things like throw grenade is mapped to G and so on. So we're not going to go into a ton of detail here, but if you wanted to, you could make changes to those if you were more comfortable with a different type of mapping on your keyboard and mouse. So we'll just click OK on that. And one thing that you want to take a look at here is you've got all these different profiles that are mapped to F keys on your keyboard. So what that allows you to do is actually switch back and forth between profiles on the fly without having to come back to your computer and change those profiles. So you can set basically up to 8 profiles in here at a time, and then have those, you just plug the device into either your PS3 or Xbox, and just change to the profile for whatever you have it mapped. Now, for the purpose of our use, since I'm a Reach player, and I'm probably going to be playing Halo Reach the most with this thing. I'm going to go ahead and set that to my startup profile. So now, automatically, when the unit boots up, the first profile it's going to load to is this Halo Reach profile, so I don't have to worry about switching profiles. Once you're done with all your configuration changes, you can just go ahead and click on the Save and Disconnect button up top. And what that's going to do is it's going to upload all of those new settings back to the memory in your XIM device, which would allow you to use those new profiles on your consoles. Once you're done with the upload, you just go ahead and click on OK. And now the unit is ready to be unplugged from your computer, so go ahead and do that. And then we're going to get to take a look at how it actually works on a console. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the actual configuration of your XIM unit on a console, and then we're going to load up a game of Reach, and we'll take a look at how it actually works. So on the XIM unit, on the front you have 3 USB ports. These USB ports it's important to know which port is for which device. So starting from this side, you have your keyboard, and then you have your mouse, and then you have your game controller. If you don't have them in those particular ports, the device is not going to work. It's also worth noting that on both the Xbox 360 and the PS3, you do need to have a wired game controller in order for this device to work. So in the case of Xbox 360, you need to purchase a controller like this one, which is an actual wired controller. You're not able to use one of the wireless controllers because even a play-in charge kit plugged in does not transmit data over that port. On PS3, however, you can simply plug in the charge cable into the front of your controller and then plug it into this, and that will work just fine. So we'll go ahead and plug these in. We got keyboard first. Wrong way. There we go. And then we have mouse. And finally, we have the game controller. Now that those are all plugged into the unit, the last thing we need to do is plug the unit into the Xbox 360. So I've already got the cable plugged into the front of my Xbox. And we'll just plug this in here. And you'll see on the front, it's going to go through a little bit of a loading period here while it gets all the configuration ready. You'll see that the controller is lighting up, and now my game is also recognized that I have that plugged in. My mouse is lit up, and we should be good to go. So now what we're going to do is we'll just go main menu here, we'll just load up a quick custom game, we'll choose Assault, and just wait for this to load and we'll be good to go. Alright, here we go.
Assault.
Okay, so we're now in the game here, and you can see that I'm automatically picked a loadout. So controller obviously works here, and what's really cool is so does my mouse, and so does my keyboard. So you can shift to run, you can move around really quickly. For those of you that have a fancy mouse like mine where you have custom DPI, you can actually lower the DPI, though you don't have to because your XIM automatically has custom DPI settings for things like zoom. So if you right-click to zoom, it's going to have the ability for you to change that speed. Now in my profile, I don't have a custom speed set up, but that's really easy to do through the drivers if you wanted to make that change. So you can see that I'm pretty easily able to navigate around here. I do have some pretty fast control moving around. Got a lot of mousing space on my table right now, but overall it works really, really well. It looks like it's got a lot more control than you would expect to have. So there is one thing that I want to point out here in terms of configuration when you're actually setting up your game. It is noted in the instruction manual that on your console, you need to go into the game and actually set your in-game cursor speed, so your look speed, to the maximum. So you have to set it to 10 insane. If you don't have it on insane, then the device won't be calibrated correctly. It's also recommended that your mouse, if you have a custom configuration mouse like mine, that you have the mouse pre-configured to the maximum DPI that mouse can handle. Again, something that you can change and play around with and reconfigure yourself, but for the custom settings that come in it when you get the device, those are the two settings that you want to have your different things on. So this is definitely a pretty exciting little device, and I can't wait to get this thing online and take a look at just how well I can destroy some noobs. So that concludes our little preview and review of the XIM Edge. So again, we have the previous model XIM 3, which is only functional on the Xbox 360, and then we have its newer, younger brother, the XIM Edge here, which is able to be used on both a PS3 and an Xbox 360. So overall, I'm really satisfied with the device. It's a hell of a lot of fun to play with. Being able to use a keyboard and mouse on a console is going to appeal to a lot of gamers. That's definitely one of the biggest things that a lot of computer gamers say, you know, playing on a console is not something they like to do because they don't like using the controller. So being able to pull out the old keyboard and mouse and still be able to play some of the really, really good Xbox exclusive games like Halo and some of the others, great product. I highly recommend any hardcore PC gamer take a look at this and potentially start expanding out into some of the other really cool games that are out there. So thank you again from the guys at XIM for providing us with both of these units for us to take a look at and compare. And thank you for taking a look at AYB Reviews. We'll hope to see you again.